The United Nations Security Council has convened an emergency meeting over Iran's attack on Israel, with diplomats urging restraint by all parties to prevent conflict in the region from escalating.
이란의 이스라엘 공격으로 유엔 안전보장이사회가 긴급 소집된 가운데 각국 대표들은 해당 지역에서의 더 이상의 확전을 막기 위해 모든 진영에 자제를 촉구했습니다. Tell us more.
Well, this was an emergency session called by Israel.
Yeah.
They called it because they described in a letter it was a direct attack launched by Iran of more than 200 UAVs, cruise missiles and ballistic missiles towards Israel in clear violation of international law. That said, directly beforehand, Israel had sent missiles to the Iranian embassy in Damascus, Syria, where it killed 2 Iranian generals. So both sides have been increasing the tensions in the Middle East. The UN Secretary General, when speaking at the UN Security Council, said it is vital to avoid any action that could lead to major military confrontations on multiple fronts in the Middle East. Now is the time for maximum restraint. And I think the whole world is crossing their fingers and going, please, just calm things down.
그래요. 이렇게 유엔 안보리가 긴급 소집됐습니다. The UN Security Council. And it's, as you said, because of this attack from Israel's part on Israel. Iran's part on Israel.
Yes.
Yes. The first expression is to convene a meeting.
Yes, which means to organise it, to say, everybody, come on, let's meet up. Yeah. So to convene a meeting means you're getting everybody together. So the UN Security Council will convene emergency meetings when an issue like this arises.
Yeah, so remember the 2 words together, because they do often come together.
They
right?
do, yes.
Yeah. Convene a meeting. 회의를 소집하다라는 뜻입니다. 같이 알아두시는 게 훨씬 이 표현을 외우는데 도움이 될 거예요. 자, urge restraint.
If we're urging someone to do something, we're asking them, but not just saying, will you do it, please? We're asking them very strongly. Urging someone to do something is saying you really need to do this. And restraint, well, this is where you hold back. This is where you do less. And when it comes to conflict, this is when you don't attack.
Right.
We're urging restraint. We're saying, not just to Iran, but to Israel, to everyone in the Middle East, please calm down. Please do not, attack each other.
I urge you to do something. 부디 이렇게 해주세요라고 촉구하는 거예요. Restraint는 자제해달라. 그러니까 자제를 촉구하는 것을 urging restraint라고 합니다. 다시 한번 제가 읽어보겠습니다. The United Nations Security Council has convened an emergency meeting over Iran's attack on Israel, with diplomats urging restraint by all parties to prevent conflict in the region from escalating. Now let's move on to the next headline.
In Japan, job quitting services that help people hand in their resignations on their behalf are reportedly gaining popularity among new employees.
일본에서 사직서를 대신 제출해주는 일명 퇴직 대행 서비스가 신입사원들 사이에서 인기를 얻고 있는 것으로 알려졌습니다. Now, this job quitting agent service has been around for some time, but these days they're gaining popularity among new employees.
Yeah, and I wasn't aware of this, but the owner of one of these companies says that when you try to quit in Japan, they guilt trip you. They basically try to make you feel ashamed or guilty if you've quit your job, after just a short time, less than 3 years or something like that.
Because hard work is something that people really value.
Yes.
Not just in Japan, but, in this case, especially so.
But it feels like it's very burdensome for employees who want to leave but feel like they're going to be under a lot of pressure not to. So they're now going to these companies. One of these companies charges about 200,000 won if you're a full-time or contract employee, or 110,000 won if you're a part-time employee, and they will basically go and sort it out for you, as it were. They've received more than 8,000 requests in just 2 years since they started the company in March 2022. And from the beginning of this year to just recently, 545 requests were made, 80 of which were from new employees, which means they've started the job and they've gone, this is not for me.
아, 그래요. 한 10만 원에서 20만 원 선으로 이제 파타이머냐 풀타이머냐에 따라 좀 다르긴 하는데 이 퇴직 대행 서비스를 이용하게 되면은 대신 사직서를 제출하고 어떻게 보면은 그 짧은 기간 동안에 그런 에이전트 역할을 해주니까 본인이 그런 불편함을 겪지 않아도 되는 것도 있고 그다음 굉장히 부담스럽나 봐요. 이 사직서 제출하는 것이. 그래서 이런 일들을 하긴 하는데 특히 신입사원들 사이에서 정말 많이들 예전에 비해서 이용을 한답니다. 뭘 제출하는 거를 영어로 뭐라고 하죠?
This is to hand in.
Hand in.
And hand in can just mean to give. So,
Yeah.
for example, a student will hand in their homework, an employee will hand in a report. But in this case, we're talking about handing in your notice, handing in your resignation, meaning you're saying, I quit.
네, hand 그리고 in이 같이 붙으면은요. 제출하다, 내 손에 있는 것을 누군가에게 주는 거죠. 그래서 제출하다가 되겠고 hand out, 그러면 배포하다, 배부하다 이런 뜻이에요. 그래서 내 손에 있는 걸 여러 사람에게 나눠줄 때 hand out라고 할 수 있겠고요. 여기서는 hand in your resignation, 사직서를 제출하는 걸 말합니다. But you're not doing it yourself. You're getting someone to do it on your behalf.
Yes, and if someone is doing something on your behalf, they are doing it for you.
Yeah.
For example, if you, my Korean is not perfect, and when it comes to things like banking
Yeah.
or contracts,
it's difficult.
I might ask my wife to read something for me on my behalf to check that she understands and that everything's okay.
It's not just you. Even
Okay.
fluent Korean speakers sometimes need help.
Yes, so someone's doing it on your behalf. A lawyer will do things on
Yeah.
your behalf, or a friend will do something on your behalf. If you're sick, for example, if Sue has to miss a show, then maybe I will host the show on her behalf, or Karen will host the show on her behalf.
Which you have done, and
I
Karen
have.
has done as well.
I'm very happy to host the show tomorrow on your behalf if you want.
I'm very well, thank you.
Next time.
But I am very grateful for those times you sat in for me. 자, 누구누구 대신한다 on someone's behalf. B-E-H-A-L-F 이렇게 씁니다. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. In Japan, job quitting services that help people hand in their resignations on their behalf are reportedly gaining popularity among new employees. And here's our final headline.
Bayer Leverkusen have clinched their first ever Bundesliga title with 5 rounds to spare, ending Bayern Munich's dominance at the top of German football.
네. 독일 프로축구팀 바이어 레버쿠젠이 5경기를 남겨놓고 사상 첫 분데스리가 우승을 차지하면서 그동안 독일 축구 정상을 지켜온 바이에른 뮌헨의 독주 체제가 막을 내렸습니다. Alright, give us the sports news.
This is interesting because the final whistle hasn't blown on
Yeah,
the season.
they
They've
still
still got
have
5
games to
matches.
spare. But they've won it.
Yeah, because what happened is after their victory on the weekend, they've got 79 points, Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Second place, Bayern Munich, and third place, Stuttgart, are both on 63 points. They both won on Saturday, but they can't catch up. It's going to be impossible for them to beat that score, that number of points by the end of the season. And so this means this is Leverkusen's first title win in the Bundesliga, the first in their club's history. And Bayern Munich, I think, are going to be pretty upset because they were champions every single year for the past 11 seasons.
Right,
They've been doing very, very well. The other amazing thing is that Bayer Leverkusen, they didn't lose any matches this season. And if they remain undefeated by the end of the season, they will be the first side in the history of German football in the Bundesliga to go a whole season without tasting defeat. This could be a record-breaking event for Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Leverkusen,
Yeah,
excuse me.
absolutely. I think Sonny will be proud because he used to be a part of this team as well. The first expression to look at here is to clinch a title, clinch victory.
Okay, now don't get this confused with romance.
Oh,
Because a
why?
clinch can be a hug. A clinch between two people.
Okay.
But here the meaning is to clinch something means to get it, to
Yeah.
grasp it, to win, to
Right.
be successful.
지금 보이는 라디오로 같이 들으시는 분들은 지금 선생님도 저도 손을 이렇게 꽉 움켜쥐는 거를 보셨을 것 같아요. 그래서 이렇게 이 단어를 연상을 시키게 되거든요. 보통 원어민들은 clinch 그럼 뭔가 꽉 이제 쥐게 되다.
네.
내 거야. 이 느낌이 좀 있어요. 그래서 clinch a title, clinch victory라고 하면은 우승은 이제 내 거. 이 느낌입니다. Bayer Leverkusen have clinched their first ever Bundesliga title. And that means Bayern Munich's dominance is no more.
Yes, and if you are dominant, or if there is dominance, you are beating everybody else. You are the most important, the most powerful, the major player in whatever it may be. And this could be in business, in sport, in entertainment, whatever it is. You are the one controlling everything or beating everybody else.
우위에 있는 것을 dominance라고 합니다. 지배하고 있는 것도 dominance가 될 수 있는데요. 그동안의 1위 자리를 차지했던 바이에른 뮤니크는 이제 no longer at the top of the Bundesliga.
Yeah. So a different example would be every smartphone company is fighting for dominance in the market.
그렇죠. 거기서 뭐 어떤 통신사든지 간에 가장 큰 영향력이나 지배력을 가지려고 노력을 많이 하죠. 자, 그러면 다시 한번 헤드라인 읽어보겠습니다. Bayer Leverkusen have clinched their first ever Bundesliga title with 5 rounds to spare, ending Bayern Munich's dominance at the top of German football. That's it for the headlines.